Yes.
Let's see how I can do with these glasses. These are better, but not in better condition necessarily when I can see probably better with this. Oh boy. Maria, what's going on, Maria? How's everything? All this activity? I know you're quite busy.
Other things are happening. Although, you know what? Did I get the agenda for today? I just got home and I didn't.
send it to everyone
Did?
this week. Yes.
All right.
And then the board, you know, resend it along with the link. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else. Let me check our calendars to see who are with us. Let's see. We have Jonathan. We have you. Miriam is with us. We're waiting for Wendy. Let me see if I can get all the folks. Okay. I guess I have to send a text to make sure that everybody, you know, they are with us. I know that Daniel Bonilla, he won't be able to join us, unfortunately. Let me close some of them. All right, let's start the meeting. We're gonna call the meeting to order. So yes, let's. Thank you. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faithful Ramon, Chair of the Youth and Education Committee. I want to thank you, all of you, for being present in this meeting or for attending this meeting. It's really a pleasure to have it, all of you, and much appreciation that you have taken the time to join us. Yes, for the record, today is Monday, it's March 14th, 2022, and this is our meeting number 3. And for the record, I would like to proceed and ask each member of this committee to identify themselves. So following that, we are going to proceed with the unfolding of the agenda. And once again, thank you. So members, for the record, please. And by the way, the meeting has been called to order at 7:07 p.m. So member, please identify yourself.
Mariam James.
Thank
Maria
you.
Luna.
Thank you.
Jonathan from Miran.
Members. Who else we have? Maria, and we have Miriam. Who else has not identified themselves?
I say Jonathan from Mira is also here present.
Jonathan, thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Yes. Let's see who else. Callis, please identify yourself. Well, we're waiting for Alice. Let's see. Luis, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. When we say members, member, identify yourself. Thank you so much. I'm very glad that you are joining us. I guess that Kelly's and other will join us later on. All right. Thank you all. And yes, let's go over the agenda. As you can see, we're going to have two formal presentation. The first presentation is coming from representative from Hunter College. And the second presentation is actually coming from the Classical Theater in Holland. And following that, we're going to have the opportunity to ask them questions. And I believe the questions and answer will be after each presentation had been concluded. And also, we're going to be moving to the phase number 4, where we're going to discuss the business, old business and new business. We're going to have Tatiana in there. And we may also make a parenthesis because one of my old colleagues from District 3 is accompanying us, but we will hear from him more. So I will not go in detail as we're speaking right now. And then, of course, in the phase number 5, we're going to be adjourning our meeting. So welcome all. And if you kindly please help me to, I would like to welcome the first guest. And let me just say just a few things. Let me thank individually to some of my colleagues here before I call the first presentation, which I almost forgot. I wanted to precisely thank Tatiana, that is always so, you know, after, you know, pending on our meetings, and I really appreciate, you know, her presence. And Luca, of course, it's been such a long time that we don't see each other. So maybe, sorry. So Luca, so we will hear more from you, but I really wanted to acknowledge you and thank you deeply, you know, for joining us. Thank you so much. Yes.
My pleasure.
Yes. All right. So if you allow me to, just help me to welcome our first guest, Rosa Cruz Cordero, who is the outreach manager, and Sofia Rosario, who is the intern at the Hunter College. They're going to be presenting about the Center for Puerto Rican Studies at Hunter College. And I wanted just to highlight the fact that this agenda has been translated also into, you know, Spanish. So for those who are listening and viewing this meeting via perhaps Facebook and YouTube, that I should also, you know, serve this as the purpose to inform you that this meeting is being recorded also and viewing or live streaming through, you know, YouTube and also Facebook. So yes, I just wanted to say that we have, I'm introducing our, you know, nuestra invitada, Rosa Cruz Cordero, encargada de comunicación, y Sofia Rosario, que es interina en el Hunter College. Please help me to welcome them. So Ms. Cordero and Ms. Rosario, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you so much. We're so happy to be here and present for all of you guys. My name is Sofia Rosario. I'm an intern at Centro, and I'm a junior at Hunter College. I'm majoring in political science with an emphasis in pre-law, and I actually transferred here from Las Vegas. So when I grew up in Vegas, I was not surrounded by many Puerto Ricans outside of my immediate family. And so when I moved here and I found out about Centro, I thought it was a really great opportunity to engage with my community and also, find ways to support it. And so I saw there was an opportunity to intern with Centro, so I immediately jumped on it and took that chance. And here I am, being able to present for you guys and talk about all the amazing things that Centro has done and has to offer for every community available. So I'd like to start by introducing you guys to what Centro is in our brief history. So we have a twofold mission, and that is to collect, preserve, and provide access to archival and library resources that document the history and culture of Puerto Ricans. And two, to produce, facilitate, and disseminate interdisciplinary research about the diasporic experiences of Puerto Ricans, and also to link the scholarly inquiry to social action and policy debates. So we are here to introduce, who we are, what Centro wants to do to people who, don't know who we are or don't know what we do, and also to make an effort to engage with communities in the 5 boroughs. And so now I'm going to pass it to Rosa to discuss what else Centro has to offer.
Thank you, Sofia.
Greetings, my name is Rosa Cruz Cordero, and for the last 5 years, I've had the honor of serving as Centro's Outreach and Partnership Manager. I'm excited at the opportunity to meet you and introduce you to Centro and our work. I do believe some of you know of Centro and some of our past initiatives, but the last 6 months have been a flurry of activity here at the Center for Puerto Rican Studies, as we welcomed a new director and introduced fresh research, arts and culture, and instructional initiatives and programming. Our director, Yarimar Bonilla, has sparked renewed energy and enthusiasm as Centro moves in new directions. At the end of this presentation, Sofia Rosario, our very dedicated intern, and I will be available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Sofia opened this presentation by talking about our mission, and now I will tell you a little bit about the initiatives and programs we conduct to fulfill that mission.
Yeah.
Dr. Yarimar Bonilla is a professor in the Department of Africana, Puerto Rican, and Latino Studies here at Hunter, and one of the directors of the Puerto Rican Syllabus Project. Blurring the lines between political and historical anthropology, Dr. Bonilla teaches and writes about sovereignty, citizenship, and race across the Americas. She has written about anti-colonial movements in the French Caribbean, the role of digital protest in the Black Lives Matter movement, and the politics of hurricane recovery in Puerto Rico. With new leadership, we also have adopted a new slogan. Tu historia is here. Your story is here. And it's Spanglish on purpose. Center is where all Puerto Ricans can learn about themselves. Our history, culture, traditions, our migration stories, social and political struggles, how we got here, why did we come, and where are we going? But the story would not be complete if we didn't safeguard the stories of the Young Lords and the Black Panthers, of the birth of hip hop in the Bronx, of Puerto Ricans in the Dominican Republic and Dominicans and marching with Dr. Martin Luther King. So, yes, we can all find our stories at Centro. Centro is proud to work in partnership with 2 other research centers, the Mexican Studies Institute at Lehman College and the Dominican Studies Institute at City College. We come together to hold conversations and presentations that explore the state of Latinos in New York City, to develop a Latino policy agenda that moves our communities forward as one. We are actively working to grow our partnerships, which is why we're here today. For example, it was through a partnership with HBO Max that we were able to offer for the first time scholarships to Hunter College students. We're now expanding that scholarship program with the help of the HITN television network. We have a long-standing partnership with the National Puerto Rican Day Parade Board. Each year, the board offers 100 college scholarships to students with at least one parent of Puerto Rican heritage. Centro works with the board to provide educational and cultural enrichment activities. In this way, scholarship winners learn about themselves and that being Puerto Rican is more than just salsa music and arroz con gandules and pernil for lunch at grandma's on Sundays. On this slide, you can also see an ad for the movie West Side Story. Centro has a long history of providing research and resources for movies and documentaries. We try to advise filmmakers as to what is the true lived experiences of our communities. Now, if you're interested to learn more about the National Puerto Rican Day Parade Scholarship, you should follow the link Sofia will be dropping in the chat. The Librarian Archive is Centro's crown jewel. Our library provides access to thousands of books, dissertations, historical newspapers, audio recordings, videos, and DVDs containing information by and about Puerto Ricans. Although dedicated to the Puerto Rican experience, the library also acquires selected materials related to other Latino communities in the United States. Our archive is the only archival repository nationwide exclusively devoted to documenting the Puerto Rican communities living in the United States. Our holdings include collections of personal papers and organizational records, including photographs, video recordings, and art posters. Our collections consist of personal papers from prominent Puerto Rican artists, elected officials, social activists, writers, as well as the records of the community-based organizations in our communities. Our largest collection is from the offices of the government of Puerto Rico in the United States. It contains an extraordinary amount of information regarding Puerto Rican migrants and the government institutions established to assist them. The collections date from the 1890s to present and document Puerto Rican communities in the Northeast, Midwest, Florida, California, and Hawaii. On the bottom right, you will see a photo of Rita Moreno looking at a picture of her older brother for the first time. In preparing for her visit to the library, we looked through our holdings and found an application for an ID card that her brother requested when he first arrived in New York. Those records are available to the public. Anyone wanting to look for a friend or a family member or working on a genealogy can make an appointment with one of our librarians who will be able to help you with the search. Our librarians are also available to make presentations and conduct tours for your organizations, school groups, and after-school programs. You may bring a group or schedule a virtual visit. Students of all ages and community members can learn how to use primary and secondary resources. Participants have the opportunity to conduct independent research using hands-on work on primary documents. The skills learned are transferable for professional and personal research, school assignments, and college papers. In conversations with the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, we learned of the need for community organizations to learn how to collect their papers and prepare for archiving in order to safeguard their history. Last summer, Centro began making presentations to organizations interested in learning the process. Feel free to contact us if you want to schedule a presentation for your group. The Central Librarian Archive is located on the first floor of the Hunter College Silverman School of Social Work building in El Barrio, at the corner of 3rd Avenue and 119th Street. It is open to the public Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, and all you will need to enter is a picture ID. Please follow the link in the chat to learn more about the library and archives. Our research department investigates, documents, and broadens the understanding of the Puerto Rican experience in the U.S. Our data hub packages and disseminates the most current information about Puerto Ricans. This information is provided to present socioeconomic and demographic portraits of the Puerto Rican and Latino population. The purpose of this is to provide basic descriptive information to scholars, policymakers, and the public in general. Organizations needing this information may submit data requests by completing the request form in the link. We at Centro are able to disseminate crucial information about the Puerto Rican experience and contribution to the political, economic, and social cultures of the United States through 3 of our publications. The Centro Journal is a peer-reviewed academic journal published 3 times a year, dedicated entirely to the field of Puerto Rican studies. The Centro e-store is where you can purchase books, art, DVDs, and educational materials. The Puerto Rican Voices is our award-winning TV series, which is my favorite because I worked on it. It highlights the contributions of Puerto Ricans across the United States. Of course, you will find links in the chat box. We will be holding a number of virtual events in the next few days, and we hope you will join us. I am most looking forward to the Reggaeton, Race, and Cultural Politics webinar on March 25th. Visit our page or follow us on all social media platforms for more information. Centro's education programs provide schools and community programs with free teaching resources available on our website. We have downloadable posters, maps, pamphlets, videos, and an Emmy-nominated animated short, Cucarachita Martina, with accompanying teaching guides for classroom or home use. I also want to share that our partners at the Dominican Studies Institute also have a new curriculum available on their website. First Blacks in the Americas is devoted to telling the history of the early inhabitants of Black African ancestry in the Dominican Republic. You will find the link in the chat. There are a number of opportunities at Centro. Our internship opportunities are open to the community, and we regularly post job openings on our website. So keep an eye out. We are currently looking for scholars, artists, cultural workers, and journalists interested in working on the question of Puerto Rico's decolonization. Follow the link to learn more. We have dropped many links in the chat throughout this presentation. But if you have any questions or need more information, feel free to email me. I turn it back now to Sofia.
Hi, so the first thing I want to address, Rosa and I were not aware that there would not be a chat for us to put the links in. So most of the things that we discussed in the video are things that you can find on our website, very easy to find. But if you're interested in specific links or further information, we're happy to send an email, whatever is most convenient. If you're interested in, learning more in detail, we're happy to give those resources to you guys. But most importantly, we want to just say thank you for everyone who's here, who's listened to us, who's been so open and hearing everything we're doing. It means so much to us just to be listened to. We really appreciate it, like genuinely and deeply. We're here because we want to open the lines up of communication between different communities, not just the Puerto Rican community. Like I was saying earlier, like we want collaboration between all boroughs and all communities, and that starts small. That starts with you guys. So ultimately we're hoping to begin a conversation about how we can all come together and collaborate. But if you have any questions, Rosa and I are happy to answer them, and any further things that you guys need.
I want to recap that we have these opportunities that you can come over to Centro, whether you want to bring a community group, a school group, whether it's to use the resources or learn how to do research. We have the opportunities for our librarians to speak to your organizations, to help you start to learn how to prepare your papers to be archived. We don't want our stories to get lost. We invite you to participate in our events, follow us on social media. We share a lot of information on our social media account. So, and check our website for jobs. Centro is growing by leaps and bounds. And so we have many job openings coming up pretty soon. So visit our website, centropr.hunter.cuny.edu. Google us, but find us. We're in 119th Street and 3rd Avenue. Come visit us. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cruz Cordero and Rosario Coes for your wonderful presentation. We truly appreciate that you have made the time and to put the request and actually share with us this important information. I'm sure my colleagues and the rest of the participants may have questions, and I want to open up the floor for questions. But before I do that, I would like to go over the rules in terms of asking questions. We usually allow members of the committee and the board to ask questions first, whether they have or not, but they have actually the upper hand on this. Once they finish, then we allow the rest of our participants, our guests, to ask questions. So allow me just to ask members. Let's see, let's go on the chat to see who have, Maria has a question. Yes, Maria.
Hi, thank you. I'm sorry. When you talk about Centro, are you working with Ana Garcia in collaboration with Dr. Ana Garcia from Hostos College, or are you working with Ramona Hernandez from CUNY? How is that collaboration working?
Yeah, we work very closely with Dominican Studies Institute, which is Ramona, and the Mexican Studies Institute. We have a long working relationship with Hostos. It just so happens that our former director here at Centro was the president at one point, Felo Matos. He was the president at Hostos. So there's a long relationship that we've
so
had.
When you talk about collaboration, like from people like us, people who are members on this committee, we should be sharing with you information. I mean, do you expect that in writing? And how do you expect us to to communicate with you so we can collaborate together?
I can actually leave our email in the Q&A box. You can contact us at any time, email us if you have any ideas as to how we can communicate with the community and your community better. We're open and we're excited to get to know your community.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Any other Cali may have questions?
I would like basically you to repeat, where is the NCG located?
We have two sites. We have our central site, which is over at Hunter College on 68th Street in Lexington. But our research department and the Central Librarian Archive is located at 119th Street and 3rd Avenue in El Barrio in East Harlem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Any other members?
Just the address on El Barrio, is that on the Burgos Center on Lexington Avenue?
No, we have, Hunter College has a building on 3rd Avenue and 119th Street, which is the School of Social Work.
Okay.
And we're on the first floor.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Do we have any other members that may have questions? All right. I guess then I will pose the questions on behalf of the community.
One more question from our side.
Okay.
You spoke about having books on your place, but do you also have like digital books on your website that people can at any time go and read online your books rather than going, locally to your location?
Our digital archives has a lot of materials, but we haven't digitized the books. But you can go onto our website and there's a lot of materials on almost any subject that you're interested in. You'll find it on our website, but the books themselves haven't been digitized.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Hopefully, in the future, you can have more digital material to be consulted by,
Yes,
visitors online.
Working on it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Yes, Ms. Cruz and Rosario, I wanted just to ask you, understanding that we have folks seeing this meeting or watching us on YouTube, Facebook, besides all presence in this meeting, what would be a direct message that you would like our audience, including, of course, our members, that you would like to convey as a result of your desire to come or appear in front of this community?
So not only do we want to share what we have to offer in terms of services, but the truth is that our motto, "Tu historia is here," is our motto telling the community at large that we all have some information, some history that relates to the Puerto Rican community, and we can find that history and that connection at our librarian archives.
So I guess that in addition to that, are you expecting perhaps that any college that perhaps reach out to you and you are invited them to reach out to you in case that they may have any question or they wanted to perhaps? Because one thing that I wanted to say is that our committee has been very, very involved in the idea of building a relationship through the community. And this is something that we have really pounded on it since 2000. Well, I can go even way back, but more emphasis since 2015. We have been very vocal about the idea of building relationship at all levels. And I think that if this is something that every institution in our community, doesn't matter if it's in the Bronx, if it's in Brooklyn or whatever, but I think being a New Yorkers, we all owe to promote what we have, because people can benefit for the information that you already, share it with us. The same way, I highly encourage you that you remain in this for the remaining time of this meeting so you can listen to our next presentation. and just looking at, into the possibility for further collaboration. So, and I think this is highly important that we all comes into one, single soul. So if we wanted to promote what we actually, we are all doing. So I think the next presentation also you're going to like it as well. So now I will, yes.
Excuse me, this is Marie. Can I just briefly ask
Sure.
Rosa, do you know Caro Oliver? She's a professor at the Hunter College. She's Puerto Rican. She's doing projects. She's a project director at Hunter College.
The name again?
Caro Oliver. She's been at Hunter College for dozens of years, and she's she's very much involved in working relationship between not only Dominicans but also Cubans and and other people in the Caribbean area.
Thank you for the information. I'll make sure to reach out to her.
Please, thank you.
Final question to you is that, do you know of any ESL program that Hunter may offer to an individual interested in learning English? Because this is something that on top of my head just came, to me, and based on facts that there were actually two Puerto Rican friends of mine that recently asked me that questions. And I was referring them to CUNY in the Heights, but Hunter College would be another choice that they may have. And this is something that you want to further elaborate on it.
So I don't have that information, but I can make sure that I get it and have it available to you for your next meeting so you can distribute.
All right. So yes, so that's it for me. So let's open up and give other folks, the opportunity to ask questions.
Say it's Mariam. Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
I think she said that they collaborated with the Schomburg down in Harlem. Is that correct?
Yes, we have actually our current director actually did most of her work in the beginning of her career at the Schomburg.
Okay, so is it incorporated in your studies? How they actually came to be in Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Haiti, because a lot of people deny that. They do.
Well, I suggest that you visit the Dominican Studies website. They have this fantastic new curriculum with lots of resources available for the community and for schools.
No, I have visited that website. I know, but a lot of other people don't know. They deny their heritage, which is basically from Africa. They just picked up the cultures in the other places where they were dropped off.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right.
So that's my question. Are those studies incorporated?
Oh, well, and Centro, yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Actually, send you some links to some of our materials.
I might come. Is it okay if I come visit your office?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to add that Miriam is very active in our community, and I think that she would be a great asset actually to your organization and being folks on board as well. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Definitely. We're looking for more people on top of it in the community to represent communities they represent, like people like me. I mean, I'm in the internship aspect of it, but just in general, people in the community should be talking about these things and should be involved in these discussions. So something else I was talking to Rosa about a couple of days ago is really going forward, as we're shifting out of everything being online and virtual, with COVID and everything, moving into meeting with these other research institutes like the Mexican Studies and Dominican Studies, so we could kind of, in our own CUNY community, collaborate together to talk about what we as a whole can do for the whole Latino community outside of just, Puerto Ricans here, Dominicans here, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are mixed, and I think that absolutely needs to be accounted for. So that's just something else I wanted to bring up, is we are working really hard to work with people, you know, in our own institute, to make sure that we can really go deep into the community and make sure that, you know, community members, their voices are being heard and they're being represented as well.
Thank you. And let me just actually extend a little bit your statement. I wanted to say that not only this is about Latin, you know, because our Latin root is very much associated with African, of course. And so, and that we are all welcome, definitely. Yes. So Miriam, I think you just brought up an interesting point, and I hope you definitely, you know, visit them, and whatever you can possibly collaborate with it on our behalf, it would be much appreciated, of course. Yes.
I'll be visiting them in the near future because as an educator, I've been educating. I live in a predominantly Dominican area, and I've been educating for a long time.
All right. So anybody else? Tatiana, you have questions? Andre, Louis? Anybody else? Michael? Michelle, do you have any questions? All right, so not hearing from anyone else, so let's then just say thank you so much, Ms. Rosario and Ms. Cruz. We will follow up, you know, with you. Feel free to share any contact information on the chat so people can actually, you know, copy and paste it and contact you later on. But in our behalf, thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Yes. All right. So now I would like to move forward with the second presentation. We have our guest, Andre Pardazzi. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Pardazzi. Sounds very much French. Okay, he is the project classic coordinator at the Classical Theater of Harlem, and he will be presenting about Classical Theater of Harlem, and basically the title, the correct title is the Young Company's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Let me see if I can say this in Spanish. So, nuestro próximo invitado es André Pardazzi, él es el coordinador de proyectos clásicos en el Teatro Clásico de Harlem, esa es la traducción, en la que él va a presentar sobre el Teatro Clásico de Harlem, el sueño de una noche de verano de The Young Company, que sería básicamente la compañía joven, ¿no? All right. So, Mr. Pardazzi, if I am pronouncing your name correct, please, or correct me, please. So, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hello, Faye. Thank you for introducing me. As Faye said, my name is Andre. My last name has different pronunciations. Some pronounce it Pardassi, some Pardesi. Depends where you grew up and what your accent is. As Faye said, I'm the Project Classics Coordinator for the Classical Theater of Harlem. I put in where my name would be, I've put the spelling of my email address in case you'd like to email me after the presentation for more information. Today, about the Classical Theater of Harlem. Our offices are located on 126th Street at the WeWork in Harlem. We do education programs throughout New York, and that's why I'm here tonight, is to talk to you about our education programs. We are a 501c3 organization, and we're also a Department of Education vendor. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Something is weird.
You cannot share. Let's see. Chanel.
Give them privileges to share his screen.
Andre, yes. Andre wants to share his.
Let me try this again. All right, if it doesn't work, I can do it without the
No, let's try.
Yeah, let's try one more time. Open system preferences. I usually don't have an issue with this. I wonder why.
You wanted to send it to email to us? You can send it to Chanel as well, and maybe we can go, because it will be. It's good when you show a visual, and since you made the effort already.
Okay, it's telling me to leave and then join. Will you bear with me while I leave and rejoin?
No problem at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's do some homework now. So member who had not identified themselves, I think this is a good opportunity so you can identify yourself. At least that you can say that you are present in this meeting for the record. Do we have anybody else that have not say present?
Hey, Faye, this is Michelle Lee. I am a member of the Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you, Michelle. Luis, you already identify yourself, right, Luis?
Yes, my name is Luis Cruz and I'm part of the Youth and Education Committee.
You're the baby member, the youngest member of the committee. Thank you, Luis, and thank you, Michelle. Yes.
So is it showing up? Do you see?
Yes, we can see very well. Yes, thank you, Andrea.
So yeah, this is our website, cth.nyc.org. It's like Faye said, I'm talking tonight about the Young Company. The Young Company is the MFA acting program at Columbia University. We have a partnership with Columbia University to market for the Young Company. We present a stream. This year, we're presenting a stream of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
And in addition to the stream, we're also offering a education program to accompany it. We have a lovely, lovely study guide. I'll share some pictures. I like that we have some old art and some new art to show the diaspora, telling the stories of William Shakespeare. And in addition to the study guide, we also have a team of teaching artists that go to the schools and do different theatrical programs with the students. We do some written-based work, such as writing speeches. We do other physical work, like speaking from the top of your voice in a very healthy way. We teach students to use their voice to communicate clearly, to be heard and understood. And like they said, this year, it is A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. That's all I really need to share my screen for. I didn't have a whole awesome PowerPoint presentation like Centro. Does
So
anybody?
This is not awesome. This is awesome.
No, it's awesome.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's the announcement. We have subsidies available for schools. The schools will just be required to fill out a form demonstrating need, and we are able to offer these programs at a subsidized rate.
This is it?
That's all I have tonight.
That was very brief. Well, thank you. Thank you, Andre. Yes, so same thing. I wanted just to repeat it, members, if you have any questions for Andres or Ms.
I have a question.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Miriam, please.
Okay, my question is, you said you offer to schools as subsidies. What about community centers?
So we have worked with the Dream Center in Harlem. We are open to working with community centers, and I'm sure that we're able to subsidize programs at community centers as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you have something specific in mind, email me.
I do.
Yeah, here I will put my email again in my name so that you can email me, and
Okay,
I'll
thank
connect you with the director of Project Classics, Mechi.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Maria, do you have a questions? I see that you have.
Yeah, no, I do. May I go now?
Sure, please.
Okay, thank you, Faye. I had to, I have my asthma is little acting up today. So let me just ask about the programs. I think you have volunteers and you pick them from, schools and things like that.
They're not volunteers. They are professional actors, and we do pay them a teaching artist rate. But I mean, they work. We wish we could pay them more. But
you talk about young and youth, and we in our committee are very much committed to putting together interaction between seniors and young people. And I was wondering if you have made any efforts to have presentation in some of the senior centers that we have in our community. We have many, they're very active, and something like this would be fantastic to have to bring to them, because some of the seniors don't have the the means or the times to go to to Broadway shows, to do theater and things like that. So
Maria,
you had that type of programs?
no, but I think we don't have those programs in place at the moment, but I do think that's a lovely idea, like you're saying, to go into community centers for older residents. I will say that our shows in Harlem at Marcus Garvey Park, the ones over the summer, they are free to the public. So anyone is able to go. We have accessible seating available. So anybody that might have a mobility disability, they're able to watch the shows as well. But I do think that what you're suggesting is a lovely idea, and I'll bring it up to our team. Okay, great, because I can identify a lot of the senior centers, and they do activities. They go out, or sometimes that you will have to come to the center, and to accommodate the hours that they are they attend the centers. But that's something that is really should I think would be ideal to have something like that. Doesn't have to be fancy presentations, but I think that that will bring so much joy to the to the elderly population. I'm talking about people that are 45 and up. I agree with you. I think that's a great idea.
And I agree with Maria. I agree with Maria, because it seems like your program might even benefit the seniors.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. So do we have anybody else? Thank you, Maria. And thank you. Who was the one last? Yes. All right. So Pade, right? So I wanted to ask you if there is
Hey, I believe your screen froze. I think Faye, you're frozen.
Yeah, she's frozen. She's probably rejoined again.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear her, Maria.
Well, while we defroze Faye, what is the time that you have these programs? Are they only in the spring or the summer and things like that? How often do you have this plays?
Our summer show is annually. We also do a winter show annually. The last one that I recall, it was at Aaron Davis Hall at City College. We've done a show. We do shows there. We have yearly programming, and we also have smaller, less publicized, but more intimate gatherings like stage readings. Anyone is available to come, of course. So on our website, here, I'll show our website again. On our website, we have what's called our literary series, where we develop, excuse me, I'm doing two things at once. Literary series here. And you can email Sean Renee at readings@cthnyc.org. Playwrights Playground. So any playwright can submit work, and then we invite them to have their networks come to get feedback about the plays.
Okay. Yeah, I think Faye is trying to get back. And also you mentioned something about there are some fees to that. Is that free for all the presentations, or?
Of these, let's see. Honestly, I would have to ask Sean Renee. I'm not too familiar with the workings of that department as far as the play readings and play development.
Right.
As far as the education programs, there are fees associated because we are aware that the Department of Education does give a budget for arts programming to schools. That's why there are fees associated, but we're able to meet the schools halfway or whatever percentage way is necessary to provide the programming free to the students.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. So what's
Oh, I see here that our series is our literary series for developing new plays. It's supported by public funds from the Department of Cultural Affairs.
Oh, okay.
And we have some other foundations that also support that.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions while we're waiting for Faye?
Right. And any of the other members can give us a little idea? I think this is a fantastic, project and information, and there are so much sadness in our world that something like this will help to alleviate everything that is happening around, not only in our communities, but also around the world. I need to focus a little more on what is it that it's lacking in our life that is causing, especially young people, to do damage to other young people. And we need to find a way to give them this type of opportunity. I think would be fantastic to make them see something different for what they see every day. Sometimes poverty, sometimes illness, sometimes desperation on some of the parents that cannot afford to give their children the things that they need to be productive and to do well now and also in the future. And the art, I'm really trying to, for many years, encourage what happens in some of the European countries where the art start from kindergarten on, is mandated a part of the curriculum for a part of the education of the children, of anybody, have to be music, art, reading, and that makes the young people, I think, look at things differently for what we see in our schools now. That even some schools don't even have crayons to do little paintings and graphic and things like that. So I think I hope that you continue on this project, and if you can expand, will be really great. And I hope that the elected officials can put a lot of some money into their budget, citywide or statewide, to do something good for not for the now, but also for the future.
Maria, I agree with you. Unfortunately, a lot of forms of art are become very expensive. Oh, Facebook.
Right.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Faye, we were
guys-
chatting. We having a really nice conversation while you were gone, but you're welcome back.
Thank you, Maria. And I do apologize. My computer turned off completely. So I'm using my phone while I bring my my laptop so I can to see if I can definitely, join through my laptop. But in the meantime, let's do this through the telephone. Yes, I'm sorry about this. I'm truly sorry. So let me see, where did I left it? So I know that I have a question for, Mr. Pardee. And if I may, the question that I actually have is, how many contributor or partners have you or do you have from Washington Heights?
Oh, okay. So let's see. I know that we do. Give me 1 second while I pull it up.
But you can say an approximately, and the question actually next to that is whether or not you interested in get connected to folks here. If you have any specific idea about who you would like to be connected with, it would be very helpful.
I know that we do receive support from the Miranda Family Foundation. I know they're located uptown there by you.
Yes.
And we have, here, I'll pull up, we do have a lot of supporters. I'll show you our support here. Here are some of our supporters. We have corporate sponsors, we have governmental support, and then we have
I saw the Armory. That's very, very, very important. Yes.
the Armory.
We work close with it. Well, that's a bunch of them. So
yeah, we are thankful to have lots of different funders. The Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone is also one of our funders. I know that in relation to other theater companies throughout New York, we have a relatively small budget. So we are working towards building up a larger endowment so that we're able to have more a higher yearly budget available so that we can offer more programming at no cost to students.
all right. Well, the reason why I asked the question is because maybe there is any specific organization or type of organization. Let's say that you may say, for example, we would like to be connected with any organization that may, it's inclined to do, let's say, theater, or they into dancer, or any type of form of art that you may want it to, for us to consider it. That's why,
Thank you. Yeah, perhaps the United Palace, if you have connections there, maybe you could run programming for students out of the United Palace if they don't already have theater coming out of there.
We can definitely try to bring you together or create like an introductions.
Thank you.
We can do an introduction with them, with the executive director. And, it won't hurt to have a discussion with her. Perhaps you may want to set a meeting so you can tell them exactly your intention, of your organization intention, and working with them. And then, of course, I'm sure that any kind of conversation of that nature is going to help definitely, our community, especially our students,
Yeah. That brings me to my next point. While Maria did bring up the idea of community centers and senior centers reaching out to our elderly population, which I think is a great idea, a more specific ask from your board today would be if you do have any connections at local schools. That is our primary target audience. Primary target audiences is to reach out to the students. So if you could send my email over to your school partners, that would be ideal.
All right. So you mean specifically to share with all the school district? That's what you meant to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Because one thing that you also can do is that we can put you in contact with your school district, like the superintendent office, and you may want it to present to the CEC, which, by the way, we do have you will hear from another CEC representative from another community, but you will hear later on exactly what the CEC does, And I think it would be a great contact to have.
You're right, Faye. I've just met with CEC 5, and I'm also planning on meeting with CEC 6, but I would love to meet with your community education council.
All right, wonderful. So I definitely going to try to see, how we can connect you with them. So,
And
all right.
while I have the spotlight, Miriam, would you please maybe just tell me your email address if you haven't already emailed me?
I haven't yet, but I will.
Oh, you will? Okay, got it. All right, good. That's all.
All right. All right. So is anybody else has any questions? Hello, anybody else? All right.
Tatiana?
So I'm from Inwood Academy for Leadership School. So, I mean, you're welcome to come to one of our news bulletins where I present things to families. So I can email you if you're interested so that other families will get, to know more about you guys.
Please, I'd love to share our information with your families. That'd be great.
Let me see if I can put my face on my telephone. Oh boy. Can't you see me? Let's see. Well, anyway, in the meantime, is anybody else has any questions? I guess it's not.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having me on your meeting tonight. I really appreciate it. And
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I do apologize, for the incidents that we have, with my computer, so not allowing me to continue properly as I wish.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Technology gets in our way sometimes.
All right. All right. Let's proceed with our agenda. Thanks again. So now we're going to go to the new and old business phase of our agenda. Please stick around because the folks that are coming next, including Tatiana, you may want it to perhaps, listen to what they have to say and let your mind just to drive you whatever they're going to say so you can be creative for more to come. So yes, Tatiana, if you may allow me to, and before you share any thoughts, because maybe it's going to be a little bit prolonged, because I have questions for you as well. I would like to bring on board to an old colleague. His name is Lucas Liu. He's from District 6, CEC Tweets. And I would like to introduce him to our committee. Especially, I wanted just to tell you just right up front that we're really looking forward to work with Lucas, and I think that the same how do you call the CEC that Lucas represent, we also looking forward to work with other CEC as ours. And I should say that Lucas is the president of the Community Education Council of District 6. And but you will hear more from him. Luca, please join us, and thank you so much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So thank you for inviting. As I said, my name is Lucas Liu. I am the president of CEC3, and Andre, to your question of getting in touch, CEC3. Central Harlem is in our zone. So we have 6 schools, 6 elementary and middle schools in our zone in Central Harlem, from 110th Street up to 124th Street, west of 5th Avenue and east of Morningside Park. So I'm happy to put you in touch with our schools.
Please, that would be great. Yeah, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
And in fact, not just in Harlem. I mean, any of the schools in our district. I mean, it's the opportunity to share, across the city, the great things that take place across different neighborhoods, right? So happy to introduce you to all our schools. Let me think about it. If it's the superintendent, and she can push it out to all of her principals, or some other way that I put you directly in touch with the individual principals. So, normally I try to work with my colleagues in other CECs. So in CB12, it's CEC 6, which Faye was the ex-president, right, Faye?
Yes,
And,
sis. Go ahead.
and you know, there's many things that our communities have in common when it comes to education. Right? We all want our kids to have access to a good quality education, make sure the schools are properly resourced, which is always a challenge for everybody, and to make sure that the learning needs of all our kids are being met. And a couple of the initiatives that we're working on in our district, the first one I'll talk about is gifted and talented programs. If you were listening to the mayor and the chancellor, they've committed to expanding gifted and talented programs across the city. And so in CEC3, we're actively putting together a plan, a strategy on how to expand gifted and talented programs in our district, especially in our Harlem part of our district, because that part of our district does not have a G&T program. So one of the main focuses of our strategy is to bring gifted and talented programs into Harlem and make sure that our Harlem students are the ones that benefit from that program. But like I said, this is an initiative being driven from the DOE, and I'm in contact with community board that covers our community board 7. I think it's 7, like community board 7, which covers the Upper West Side, but also into Harlem is community board 10, I believe. So I'm in touch with community board 10 as well on how do we engage with parents in Harlem to make sure that they're very much aware of what we're trying to do, and they're part of the strategy. We're actually working with some parents that have kids in our Harlem schools and putting together this strategy on how do we bring G&T into Harlem, and then make sure our Harlem students are benefiting from this program, making sure they're being prepared for this type of program, whether it's through making sure there's 3K and pre-K to help prepare students for these programs. Things of that nature. So that's one thing we're working on in CEC3, and hopefully many other districts across the city are getting ready to take advantage of these programs that the DOE and the chancellor and the mayor are promoting. Also, in CEC3 and District 3, we have 12 dual language programs, 4 different languages. In our district, and we're adding another French dual language program starting at pre-K. Starts at pre-K. We have a large Senegalese community, so African French community in Harlem, and this program would directly benefit those families, maintaining the language, right, of the culture of the country in Harlem, so that language is very important, right? To all of us, especially for those who come from homes where English isn't the first language. Right? And to build on that, we're working closely with our District 79 schools, which are the alternative high schools and the continuing education schools, where older students can return if they had left early. They can return to these schools and finish out their high school degrees, receive their GED, if they so choose, or learn other skills. These alternative schools also teach other skills, and not just to students, but to adults. For students, like I said, they can come back and get their GED. They can also take technology classes. They can take welding classes, right? Trade skills that can help put these students onto a path of hopefully more financial independence and stability, right? So things they may not have thought about, or maybe they had no choice but to drop out early because they had to get a job or support their family, things of that nature. But also these District 79 schools also offer programs to adults, so to parents, whether it's English classes, they offer actually nurses assistants certifications. So, and that's all free. If they went to one of the trade schools, it would cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If they go to a District 79 school, it's free. The only cost to the student is the cost of books and the cost of signing up to get the certification, right? So in essence, you're saving them several $1,000s And again, this puts families on the path to financial stability, right? Which I think is very important. If we want to, we all talk about achieving equity. Well, in order to achieve equity, I think families need to have that education. So that equity belongs to them. That independence belongs to them. It's not a dependency on somebody else, right? They've now earned their independence to be able to, in a way, set their own path. And one of the things actually that I didn't mention when I was talking about G&T, in District 3, we have 5 G&T programs. Across 3 of our G&T programs, we have students from, I think it's 5 or 6 District 6 schools. So families are coming from the Heights, they're coming from Inwood, all the way down to the Upper West Side for these G&T programs. So I think that is something that District 6 should be looking at, expanding G&T to get the G&T programs into District 6, so that these students, this is elementary school, so you're talking about kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old getting on the subway for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, just to get to school in the morning, and then somebody has to come and get them and bring them home at the end of the day. I mean, that's crazy. Who wants a kindergartner commuting an hour to get to school? Right? That's crazy. So I think this is something that the Youth and Education Committee here on CB12 could work with the CEC on trying to bring these gifted and talented programs up to the very, very northern parts of Manhattan. And again, this comes back to making sure all of our kids have access to these academic programs that will help put them on a path to a solid education. So those are some of the things we're working on in District 3, CEC3 is working on. And we're always looking for families to partner with, schools to partner with, other CECs to partner with, to help advocate for our students across the city. So happy to take any questions, anything you have.
Yes. So thank you, Lucas. Definitely, thank you. So I hope some of our folks, now that they have heard from you, wait a minute, I think my computer is coming back. So they may have some question, because I'm really looking forward. Oops, let me just load my, yes, for our committee. Oh boy, it's I don't know, it's not want to work. Anyway, I will continue on my phone. So what I'm saying is that I'm really looking forward for our committee to work together in partnership with you, and so we can from time to time join your meeting, and you join ours. And I think that interchange of agendas in terms of announcement and what is to keep ourselves, up to date, what is going on in our community. Because at the end of the day, we all are in the same path and same, per se, serving our parents, serving our students. And if we collectively, work together, I think that the result, can be really, amazing. So that's something that I also wanted to encourage our folks from CEC that, Lucas, when I used to be at the CEC, one of the things that that's when I have the luck to meet you, that's where we met. And I think that, yes, I would love for CEC to be more involved, with you, for your council as well. And this is an open invitation that I publicly declaring tonight, so they can join, us, and to be also more willing to work with us as well, as I'm always be willing to. And I think it's just for the benefits of our students and our parents. And the more we get, folks join this effort, the better, the outcome will be. So I really appreciate you taking the time to honoring us with your presence and, sharing all the information that, you have that you have shared with us. I know there is a lot more things that we need to learn and all to learn about your council and the work that you are doing in your committee. But I hope that my colleagues as well, anyone that is viewing this meeting, they go into your website and they subscribe, especially, for this upcoming meeting with the chancellor. I think this is outstanding. This is wonderful. And that will be an opportunity for parents to meet the new chancellor. That a lot of folks may not probably have the opportunity to see him or speaking or whatever. So that would be a great opportunity.
Yes,
Yes.
We have the chancellor coming to District 3 on March 30th. It happens to be our turn to have the chancellor come and visit.
Yes.
He cycles through all of the districts once every 2 years. And this year happens to be our year to have the chancellor come and visit.
Well, you're going to be leading that meeting as the president of the CC.
I will be emceeing the meeting, yes, but I'm going to let my colleagues on the CEC do all the questioning of the chancellor. Give everybody a chance to speak.
Yes. All right. So let's see if our colleague may have any question for you, unless you want to share anything else. Are you?
Well, I have Andre's email, and Andre, I'm going to do the same as you and put my email in where my name is, and jot it down too. So make sure we connect later on. It's lliu@cec3.org.
I can share with them as well too.
You
Yeah.
have it. That's right, you have it too, so.
I can definitely put him on the chat. All right. Fellows, do you have any question?
Maria, you have him here?
Well, I always have some questions.
But that's a good thing, Maria.
Okay. My question to you is, when you meet with the chancellor on March 30th, you said?
That's right.
What is going to be the number one priority that you are going to demand from the chancellor for the children of the students of your community? The number 5.
Right. So I don't know the answer to that yet, because what we're doing is we are asking all of the parents to submit questions they would like to ask the chancellor. And from that, we'll determine, we'll group all the questions by themes and then decide on questions from that way, right? So that way it's not my decision on what the questions are to ask the chancellor. It's the parents' decision on what questions to ask the chancellor. So hopefully we'll get many questions from our parents, and then we'll group them together by themes, and then we'll ask the questions based on the themes that come up from the parents. Like I said, I just facilitate. I don't make the decision.
But but I think there are two things that we have. There is 2 parts: the students, the parents as parents, and then the teachers as teachers. And there has to be a combination of not of ideas, but I think the goals for to move ahead our children, overall. Because parents, we all have needs for our children, and we have hopes, and we have everything great that we need, that we think that the children deserve, that our children deserve. So some parents are going to be a little more forceful than others, and then the teachers also have their priorities, and the voices of the teacher should be also be heard by the chancellor.
Right. And so, the CECs, right? We represent and we advocate for the students and the families of District 3, right? We don't represent the DOE. We don't advocate for the DOE. We advocate for our students and our families first, right? That's our responsibility. Students and families first. Because the DOE is this monster organization. They're more than capable of advocating for themselves. The teachers have the UFT, and they're more, the UFT is more than capable of advocating for their teachers. But our students and families, right, it's hard for them to advocate because they don't have a central organization, right, to advocate for them. And that's our role, right? So we fill that role for them. You know, there's PTAs and things like that, but the PTAs sometimes aren't always as influential or as well connected as the CECs can be. You know, we are able to reach out to the chancellor and his leadership team much more easier than the PTAs. And so when there's an issue or when there's something that comes up in our district that we need to have addressed, or we feel we aren't getting enough attention, we know how to escalate and reach out to, you know, the big decision maker, right? Someone who can make the decision and get an answer versus somebody who has to ask somebody who has to ask somebody who has to ask somebody. And 3 months later, you're still waiting for an answer. You know, instead we'll go straight to the source, right?
Okay, thanks.
And I wanted to add that, Maria, you probably, I don't know if you remember, but in 2016, I think it was, yeah, 2016, when I used to be with the CEC, both the CEC 6 and the we also, in collaboration or in support, in collaboration, I should say, with the Youth and Education Committee, we also had that town hall meeting at the George Washington High School. Sure. And this is something that happened through every CEC has that privilege, I should say, to invite the chancellor. But it's more, the idea is more to allow parents to express their concern directly with the chancellor. And based, like Luca just said, and based what the parents wanted to, they the one like the gears in terms of what is the issue that you really want this body to bring to the, you know, to the chancellor, because they represent the parents at the end of the day. So it's what the parent mostly wanted, the message that they wanted to convey to the chancellor. And that doesn't say or should go unnoticed that also the chancellor had the opportunity based on prior, you know, meeting, commitment, and interaction in the community. They may also form, or they can come up with, you know, a few questions for the chancellor based on their interaction with the community. But mostly the preferences is for the parents, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I recall, you know, how we did then. So you correct me, Lucas, on that.
Right. I mean, you know, just so you know, some categories of questions that we've received so far, you know, around special education services. You know, there's some school-specific questions, you know, construction going on at a school that's taking longer than it should, you know, things like that. But, you know, the questions I've seen so far come in, like so special education, there is a big question around gifted and talented programs in our district. Remote learning, if there's going to be a remote learning option, you know, parents are still holding their kids out. So there's questions around a vaccine mandate, right, and what's happening with that. So we'll see. I mean, as the questions come in, that's how we're going to determine what questions get asked of the chancellor.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. So anybody else may have any questions? I cannot see much from this telephone, of course. I'm trying to get back on track with my computer. Jonathan, did you see anybody else raise their hands?
Tatiana?
Tatiana? Yes, Tatiana. Go ahead, Tatiana.
Thank you. No, I just was wondering if we could be invited to that meeting. If it is on Zoom, if I could crash your meeting just to hear what your chancellor has to say.
It's public Zoom, and is there a, let me see, can everyone see the Q&A? Am I allowed to type in the Q&A? If I can just put the link there.
Jonathan can, or maybe Chanel can help you, probably allow you to. Chanel?
Sorry, yes.
Yes, hi. Mr. Liu wanted to, he wanted to be able to share some information. I think in our chat, can you allow him, please?
Oh, we don't have a chat. We just have the Q&A.
Can I type in the Q&A?
Yes, by like I think responding to a question that's already there, perhaps.
Let's see.
All right, let me do that. Let me get the link from the flyer.
I may have to turn off this light. I don't know if this light is actually interfering with.
Yes, Lucas, if you want to share some information, you can do it through the Q&A. But also
Thank
you
you,
can share
Johanna.
your screen if you have it on some Word document or any other page.
Yeah, oh, you know what it is? It's a hyperlink in the document from a title, not the actual. Let me just type it. Let me just copy and paste it. It'll be easier. Let me see if the DOE has posted it. The DOE hosts the town hall. So actually, oh, you know what? It is there, and I'm actually, you can see who has their town halls coming up with the chancellor. Yeah, I'm going to. Let's see. All right, so I will respond. In the Q&A, I just typed in a link, and in that link, you will see all of the Chancellor Town Halls that are coming up. And you can register on any of them. These are all public meetings. Anybody can attend any of these. It's not, you don't need a special invite. These are all open to the public. Anybody can join. And you'll see the list of CECs who have their Chancellor Town Halls coming up. And then you just click on it and you follow it and you just register. You get the DOE link to the town hall. You get an invite to the town hall.
Okay. All right. So anybody else have any questions? Let's see. Now I'm back. I hope it remains stable. Let's see. I don't see any other hands up. All right. So yes, Luca, Lou, I want to thank you. And we definitely will be in touch. And I personally look forward to joining, your meeting, your council meeting on March 30th. And I hope some of my colleagues also will join me as well. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. And like I said, I mean, obviously, Faye, the folks on CEC 6, right? And what they're focusing on. And we're happy to, try to collaborate when we can.
And that note, I actually wanted to, just came to my mind that I think one of the things that we should be more vocal about is in going back to the old days in which parents actually, they have real input, in terms of being at the table. And I'm looking forward to have a conversation soon, with a community in which chancellor take in consideration not only necessarily through a town hall or a few meetings through the council, but I think that in like in a more vivid and concise and real manner, I would like to see parents actually being more part of the being at the table, basically, in one word. Parents need to have more, power. So because in my personal opinion, and this is not the voice of my committee, but personally myself, I feel that we can do a lot better. There is a lot of room for parents to be at the table. And I don't think that this is necessarily happen. It may happen, but not of the way that it should be. Parents ought to have more, the voices needs to be heard in a more, official manner. So I don't know, but let's see where this is going to lead to. But I highly encourage this chancellor to do something different compared to previous chancellor. So he should really concentrate in a sincere and concise manner and giving parents, that power. So let's see how will play out later on. Because that's what we want.
Right. Yes, we do.
All right, so thanks again.
Thank you.
You are welcome, certainly. Okay, now let me proceed with the next, like they say, not the last but the least. So Tatiana, I would like to welcome Tatiana so she can join us. And Tatiana actually is going to, I believe that she has 2 words to share with us. She also may speak about the importance of community partnership and some of the issue that is going on around her school. And Tatiana, I must say, I want to thank you deeply, because you are always so concise in terms of joining our meeting, keeping us, posted, what's going on in our community. And that's something that cannot go unnoticed. So I deeply thank you very much. So yes, share with us whatever, it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you, Faye. First, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here. It's just such a honor, just because my job is Inwood Community, Inwood Academy for Leadership is it's family and community engagement. And I just want to say thank you because of this, of the Community Board 12, and when we had the issues with putting the signage on our streets because we didn't even have slow down school zone. It was the community board who gave us the bump to allow us to help us to get all the signage and the slowing down, and it benefited not just us, but PS5 and the Dykeman housing. And just they changed the traffic lights and all that. So I just want to say thank you. Now I'm bringing another issue. And that is that since marijuana was legalized, our neighborhood has changed drastically. You will be able to see vendors in the park. They have the little whiteboards, selling their products like edibles, and packaged in like containers like Doritos or Kinder Joy chocolate eggs. They're clearly attracting kids. And it's just this early exposure to this, to marijuana. It's very concerning for us as a school, just because of the early exposure to it so blatantly in our streets, and also because we serve a lot of children with special needs, and so that could affect our kids tremendously. Because we have seen that, in research, that if a child has exposure to cannabis, they can even get schizophrenia. They could really mentally alter them for lifetime. So, we tried to reach out to the police and to our district, haven't been able to connect. Also, we are connected with, there is a youth and police council directed by Al Santino, where our own kids, because we're a high school, middle school and high school, our own kids are participating to advocate. You guys know that when the district attorney, Alvin Bragg, came to the to the community board, one of our kids mentioned it, about this issue with the marijuana being sold on the streets. And he did say, if you recall, that right now the priority was to removing guns from our streets, that was more of a priority. And but the issue, I still bring it up because I was talking to another parent from president of the Parent Association for Amistad, and she told me that the school had to go through a lockdown because there was a shooting nearby because it had to do with the drugs being sold. So it does affect our community, and you can see it also being sold right. You can see it from Washington Heights Academy. It's a lot of our schools. So so I would love to bring together all the parent associations, and I reach out to the CC6 and especially the person in charge of the representing students with that receive special services. His name is Luis Camilo, and to advocate for our schools, because it just doesn't affect us; it affects other schools nearby. So I think that if we come together, then we can, advocate for our kids, because this can be, very detrimental for our kids. I mean, we have looked into research, and it just shows that, that if a teen between the ages of 13 and up, if they start using, or even 12 to 17, they can lower the IQ by 8 points. So this is something that may not affect so much an adult, but a young person, it does. It's an adult product. It's not for children. It should not be sold to children, and of course it's illegal and they shouldn't be selling. But why are they right there by the schools?
La marijuana.
So so I just would love to get some feedback, get some advice from your wise counsel, and to see how we can fight this. And from my thinking is to have like a safety first coalition, to have all the parent associations to call 311 all at once, to just say, this is a problem, because we have tried and nobody hears us. And again, we have a lot of kids with special needs that could really be affected. And our parents work 2 jobs. We serve families who are low income, who are working class, wonderful parents, very active. They're willing to advocate and make time, but they cannot police their children all the time as they finish their school to pick them up, because again, they're older. And even the little kids, they may say, well, that's not going to influence the little kids, because they, the parents come to pick them up, but they're making it a norm to see like being sold on the streets like it's nothing, and this is not a norm. It shouldn't be a norm for the kids to grow up in streets where they are being sold like that. And also because they use, like I said, Kinder Joy eggs. We had one parent who said that she bought a chocolate from, and it ended up, it was edibles. So, it's not, parents did not differentiate one from the other. So I'm very passionate, as you can see, about this. And so, yeah, I would love your input. I would love your advice, how to go about this. We looked into JAMA pediatric studies, and how this can be as addictive as prescriptions like opioids, and it can be very, very addicting to a young person. So yeah.
You're on mute, Faye.
Yep.
I'm sorry, with this back and forward with my computer issue, oh gosh, and my telephone, I truly apologize. I'm sorry. So I was saying to Tatiana is that this is this particular issue has been the outcry in our community, because I remember since I was at the CEC, someone actually brought up that to us. And at that time, Inwood Academy was not on the picture, with this issue, because I remember the folks that came to us, he was from the surrounding of the Amistad, which was the school that he actually was referring to at that time. And that person, was very, very, if not highly vocal about this issue. But I don't know what happened to him, because after I brought up this issue to the board, he's just disappeared. I don't know, what happened to him. But what I wanted to establish is that this is not a new problem, and it seems to me that the problem is getting worse and worse. In particular, now that we have this issue being legalized. So people think that because it's legalized means that they can go wherever they want to and do whatever they wanted to, which is not the case. So it should be some kind of perimeter on this, where the mayor in particular, I should say, should really take this issue, to face value and be very, take this, embrace this in a very, not only sincere, but serious, manner, because this is serious. I don't think that they should allow to have folks doing this kind of activity, nowhere at all, unless in the school. It's no business for folks to be around the school, doing this nonsense, So, and I think that, as you say, Tatiana, if we can actually get or invoke the presence of, parent association, CCs, the boards, the police department, or our prison, our local prisons, and call upon, even the mayor and the chancellor, if it's possible. Speaking of the chancellor, we got something that we can mention in the next meeting that, just Lucas, is going to have. So, but I think that we should go aggressive from that issue to address that issue so they can be mindful and put a stop to this, because I think that the fact that we have folks doing this kind of activity, that's probably mean that we don't have much civilians in that area. And that's something that we need to be, more vocal about that. Yes. So Cali, do you have any question? Maria, you have a question, and I think, let's see who else has a question. Yes, Maria.
I have a question. Tatiana, you are right and you are wrong. Let me just start with the being wrong. The police, the district attorney have nothing to do with this issue. It was mandated, it was a law passed that legalizing marijuana is for the benefit of society. I am extremely upset about that. As I am upset about the liquor. People drinks and overdrink, and it's wrong. So a series of things that happens with our communities. Even if we avoid that type of selling around the schools and things like that, it's going to continue happening. I think we have to take a leadership. You remember when we have fighting about the cigarette, that we try to make people understand how dangerous smoking is. People still smoke. People who are using marijuana, some of them use it for medical reasons, and some of them abuse it. So the abuse is the one that we have to, try to tackle, to educate people and our children and why not to use certain things. So it's a very constant thing that we are going to be encountering as parents, as society, as community. My concern is that I don't want that type of business to be in every corner, on every block, in every street, and every avenue. It's okay that they're going to have this type of business around, but with some type of control, I think that we are going to be doing something to alleviate arrest for small amounts of marijuana. We have people in prison for, long sentences, depending the color of their skin, the ethnicity, and things like that. People for a one-time little thing, cigarette or marijuana will get 5 years, and others will only get a pat on the back and says, go back home, and things like that. So we have to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So let's start with our children, with us, and trying to make them understand that, of course, this is legal, but you don't have to do it. This is something that is our responsibility, because some people who they advocate for having legalizing marijuana is not just here in New York, it's all over. So it's going to be a fight uphill, But I think that by saying I don't want it here, I don't want it there, it's not going to happen. It's just going to continue. And unfortunately, they won. People who are, in that type of industry, and that business won. So now us have to pay a little more attention and try to see how we can really save our children. And not only the children, also the adults that are overused in this sense. So that is why, the only thing that I have to say, liquor, cigarettes, and, drugs is something that our society has been fighting for many years, but they are there and we have to try to do the best we can. So that's my comment, not a question.
Well, I just would like to add a little bit before maybe Tatiana may wanted to add some response to this comment. So I wanted just to emphasize on the fact that because it has become legal, that doesn't mean that they can basically go around the school and do this activity, in the school, basically, or literally speaking. So yeah, it's legal. It's legal inside your house. That doesn't mean that you have to bombard people, with your smoke, because I find this so irrespectful, and I really think that this is something that this legislation should make clear. It should be some kind of how do you call that? They should frame how far this can go. That doesn't mean, okay, yes, we understand it has been legalized, but does that mean that people can smoke in your face? That means that people can smoke in the train? Does that mean that? Because if this is exactly what this legislation, was passed, so I think this is not right. This is unacceptable. It's telling kids it's okay for you to smoke. No, people have choices, and parents should have ultimately, the right to say, I don't want my kid to be bombarded with this nonsense. I'm not interested in that. Nobody is prepared to accept that. So, but anyway, yes, Tatiana.
Yeah, I do wonder if there is a way, like, to, again, if there was, like, in California or where it also was legalized, like if they have this, I don't know the word, dispensaries. I may be butchering the word, where you just all, it's a business, so you put it here. Yes, you get tax and all this stuff, but just to have those vendors like this, I know that, like, I do have some parents, for example, who sell fruit on the streets, and they sometimes say, oh, I can't be selling, or I have to move along, because they can catch me and it's not legal for me to have without a license. So why is it that a parent who's selling fruit and horchata is more afraid that the person who's selling marijuana on the streets? So what is the difference? If it is a street vendor, it's a street vendor. So that is the part where I'm not clear, and I just wonder if there is anything. Is there any regulation for those people who are selling on the streets, or if I just decide to start in the corner my own sales, I have no problem. So that's the part where I don't know. So yeah, I would love to have more information. And I guess I'll take more questions. Lucas, if you.
Tatiana, just a quick question. What you said it was what school are you referring to?
Well, I'm at Inwood Academy for Leadership.
Inwood Academy.
Yeah, it's a charter school. It's a middle school and high school. So, we feel like it's right there in our faces that, because we have middle schoolers and high schoolers, and, and again, our kids have been trying to advocate. Our kids have been together with the Youth and Police Roundtable and trying to do things. And we do a lot of education things. We do team up with Inwood Community Services, who also offer a lot of workshops to parents. I do circulate videos about vaping, about the dangers of vaping, the dangers of using cannabis for a young child. There are great YouTube videos that are available and that I pass along, our families pass along to other families. We do have a great advocacy committee within our schools. So that's why we want to bring it up, because I feel like we can get organized to advocate for this, and see if I can get other families involved. So it's not just us.
Right. So is this there's a park right across the street from the school that this is happening?
Yes.
Which park? I'm not familiar with the neighborhood. So
I forget the name. Something Kit. Oh gosh, I'm really bad with names. It's right on 204 and 10th Avenue. It's where we have the park.
Okay, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you reached out to the press?
No.
Not the press. Yes. No.
Look, they're going to say that this already legalized, that they're going to have some type of control, like they have for cigarettes and things like that. It's a done deal. It's unfortunately that we're going to suffer the consequences. And it's not going to be sold, I hope, in every corner. They designating people who are going to be selling them and that type of thing. Of course, things may be out of control when there's going to be lack of supervision or some type of overseeing the amount that they're going to be selling. So it's a very sad situation that we are encountering.
All right.
Yeah, and also because, with the pandemic, a lot of the kids went through anxiety, depression, and what do? They can go into that, oh, that will alleviate my anxiety, or it can be, it's the age when they take risky behavior. So, like I said, we didn't see that, but it's now in our middle school. We never saw that, the way it is right now. So it's just really, really sad. Yeah.
All right. We need to.
Just look. Let me make if I can make a phone call.
Go ahead.
I'll make a phone call and see if I can get somebody interested in doing the story.
Okay.
Nothing they hate more than is bad press, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have shoot me an email.
Yes, I got you.
No promises. No promises. I can only.
I appreciate anything, any ideas. I'm open again. Yeah. Thank you. Sophia, you had something?
No, yeah, Sophia, yeah, that's what I wanted to call next. And then Andres have something to say as well. Yes.
Maria made a lot of really amazing points, and I'm really glad she pointed out some flaws in the initial argument, because, unfortunately, not all legislation passed is going to be approved by everyone. And not all of it is fine-tuned. So the majority, it might work for them, but unfortunately we have issues like this. At least in my time living here, I've never even seen a dispensary. Back in Nevada, where I'm from, they're everywhere. It was one of the early states to legalize marijuana. So I think really the best kind of, Lucas was talking about press. Back in my city, I worked a lot with nonprofit organizations and making sure the press we were getting was good and making sure it didn't look like we were crying over an issue we couldn't fix. That's the last thing that they want. Unfortunately, the mayor made a lot of promises to increase the amount of policing. And unfortunately, increasing the amount of policing doesn't really help the problem. Vendors like that, they're going to get scared, they're going to run away, and they're just going to bounce to another neighborhood, which doesn't solve the problem. And eventually they'll come back. So I think really a good idea for you, you're obviously so passionate about this, clearly staff that you work with is passionate. I strongly suggest rallying up a group, some type of grassroots type group, and coming together to discuss this issue, and also to making sure that you're incorporating this kind of issue into your education, because kids, unfortunately, people like this prey on very young, vulnerable people who don't know any better. That's the whole reason they're located next to a school, is they know they can sell things that look like candy because kids will buy them. They don't know any better. So really educating your kids to spot these things out and think for themselves, and also getting the parents involved as well to make sure what they're learning at school is being reinforced. Because if they're going to school and they're learning one thing and being told something else at home, chances are what you're teaching them is just not going to get through to their head. So I really think coming together and really bringing this up and having a conversation with the people you work with, going as far as to talking to other schools in your neighborhood and saying, hey, are you having this issue? Like, let's come together and let's figure out what kind of program we can put together. Like for me, I grew up with DARE. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. I don't know if that was way back when I was younger. I have no idea, but programs like that to really encourage kids to recognize signs of drug abuse, whatever. Obviously, there's so many resources for that. Incorporating it and kind of like giving it out in a way that they can understand. Because the thing, when we talk about legislation, we talk about drugs and things like this, it's not easy to understand. Adults have a hard time understanding these things. So can't even imagine what a child must be thinking, especially when they're being influenced by it, by people around them. So I think maybe come up with a creative approach for how you can better educate, your students, and getting the parents involved, getting involved with PTAs, things like that, and trying to spread an issue you're seeing with other schools. Because I think once the press gets involved and they see a whole community, multiple schools, multiple, concerned teachers and educators who are saying this is a huge issue and our children are being put at risk, it's not going to be bad press. It's going to be, oh, there's a serious issue in this community and educators and children, need our help. And I think hopefully that'll get the attention of the mayor. It's like Maria was saying, the district attorney, their jurisdiction only goes so far, and they can say a lot of things, but really they can't enact too much in that. The mayor can do a lot more. It's that trickle down. It's a lot of bureaucracy. It gets really confusing. I totally understand. I'm studying it. It's really hard. But this is something you're passionate about, and I think that you should find a lot of creative ways and find more passionate people to work with you to make a change in your community. And definitely, emailing Lucas and trying to find ways to get, what this is a mission, like getting your mission out there to make sure that other people hear it. And maybe even sitting in on other neighboring community boards. This is Washington for what community board 12, Washington Heights and Inwood. So maybe talking to community board 10, which Lucas has connections to, which is Central Harlem. Like, these neighborhoods struggle with these issues too. And they're gonna keep getting worse if people don't come together to do something about them. So I hope that helps, reinforcing the idea. It's really hard, and I come from a family of educators, and I get exactly what you're getting at. It 100% makes sense. And it's sad that more people in legislation don't take that into consideration before passing bills like that. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think this is a great idea. Yes, congregate people, speak up, allow them to, or just the whole group, be educated what is going on. Because one thing that I'm not sure is happening is another part of the community. I don't think that you're going to see many, I should say, sites or perhaps many other schools facing that problems. So, what I exactly mean. So this is not necessarily another school, but there is a great number of schools that I've first seen, the problems. And we also wanted to question, why is that happening in other schools? Because we have other schools that this is not happening, So, but yeah, we need to, I think the suggestion that, Ms. Rosario just brought up, I think is wonderful. And I also wanted to highlight also what also, Lucas, Lou also, share it with us. So let's not let this just to be a conversation, but let's go active and start, doing something about this. So I'm for it. Yes. Okay. Anybody else may have any other question? I cannot see because I went back to my telephone, which is not, let's see if we have.
Andre have his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Tatiana, what you were
Yes,
saying.
Andrew was next. Yes, Andrew. Sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, I agree with you. They should not be selling marijuana products in a park by a school, period. I wanted to bring up what you were saying about the dispensaries. So as far as I understand about the legislation that was passed, it is legal.
Yes.
It is legal. Like, it's legal to have, marijuana in New York. But I don't as far as I understand, it's not legal to sell it. Like, it's not legal to own a dispensary at this moment in New York. So I think that's where the issue of it being sold in the community on street corners is coming up. I'm not the person to know, what the right way about what the right thing is as far as what the future steps should go with that legislation. As Sophia was saying, it's like for the majority of people in legislation seemed to think that it was the better idea to legalize it and to eventually legalize the selling of it in New York. As I understand, it is legal to sell it out of a dispensary in New Jersey. So that might be where our folks are getting it from. But that's all I just wanted to highlight, was the fact that as of right now, I don't believe it's legal to own a dispensary in New York. So that's why it's ending up on the street in parks.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's actually, a very important highlight that you just made. I guess that we have to do more research and perhaps a conversation with our politicians, city council, especially District 6 Councilwoman De La Rosa.
Yeah, I reached out to her.
We should, okay, if you did it, wonderful. So maybe we can definitely call up for a, public hearing to address this, and invite her as well, besides all the parents and all the schools that wanted to join us and support us on this, because this is a serious issue. So I really think so. So do we have anybody else that may have any question, or Tatiana, you may want to add any other, comments?
No, I appreciate your comments, and really, like Ms. Luna said, like having like the reality check of what can be done. We do have it within our school. We do have a lot of, training for our kids and everything, and also for our parents. But again, it just we can't afford to just have even one kid who can, go astray. So it just and I think that we need more support. We can't go at it alone. So that's why I'm reaching out. So yeah, thank you so much for your time and your advice.
You're definitely, quite welcome. And I also, yes, welcome everyone that was able to, I would say, share their thoughts on this. This is a very serious matter. And I think, just for the record, we wanted just to remain vigilant and not only in this matter, but one thing that I gathered throughout the whole meeting is that building partnership, let's be consistent with that. Let's address this issue with the marijuana, setting marijuana near the schools. That's something very, very, serious. And of course, I wanted also to bring again the importance of keep advocating so the parents can be brought to, on the table in a sincere and concise manner, by this administration. We really want to see more parents to be more vocal and in this administration to listen to them. So, well, right now is 9:10. If anyone has any other questions, so this will be the time to ask. Jonathan, do we see any hands? Because I'm actually
mine.
Any announcement?
I need to address Luis Cruz, our young member. In the prior meetings, his concern was about that he doesn't have a place to go swimming or learning how to swim, I contacted the Parks Department that have 2 swimming places in our area. They don't have teaching, but they will welcome to see if there are anyone in our communities interested in teaching how to swim, and then they will try to implement that, especially on the swimming pools here on High Bridge, and also on the one that the 145th Street Park, the State Park, that have 2 big swimming pools, one for adults and one for children. So I will get back to you, Luis, with more information about swimming. We want you to learn how to swim soon for this summer. All right.
Louis?
Great, that's great. Thank you for the information.
I just don't want you to think that I forgot.
No, I think that he
thanks for
actually was
keeping me in
mentioned.
mind.
All right.
Go ahead, Louis. In addition to what Maria is saying, I think you also mentioned about the George Washington, something like that. Like you mentioned about that the swimming pool being closed, something like that. Like you mentioned as well. I remember that you also brought up that issue.
Yes, we were concerned about the swimming pool conditions. Our school, the school for the George Washington campus.
Yeah.
They need better swimming. We're worried about the swimming conditions. The pool needs to be renovated, and I don't know. I would like to see there was I think it was addressed by the community board, right, Miss Faye?
Well, yes, we've been actually asking or advocating for funding to get this pool renewal. I know there was one of them. It's 2 pools that they have there. They fixed one, but there is a second one that they promised to, but it's not functioning as we're speaking. That's what I understand. It's still pending for renovation. But I remember that one of these pools used to be open for the community. So that was closed many, many years, if not decades ago. And they promised us that they're going to open up this for the community, but we are still waiting, impatiently. That is not, that hasn't been the case. I don't know if that's what you were referring to besides what Maria said. So you want to learn to swim? Maria just said that on 145th you can do that, and High Bridge as well. But I think that you mentioned the facts of George Washington, because I know we've been working with George Washington for a very long time. We are a faithful advocate for George Washington because, we do a lot of things there as well. And I think they have a lot to offer as well to the community, like many other the school. But this particular sites, they have the campus that should be open, to the community. And of course, the swimming pool the community should have access to. My computer again, but anyway. So you want to add anything else or anybody else before we adjourn the meeting? I guess nobody has any further comment. Is that
Hey,
it?
congratulations. This is a Women's Month, so you're doing a great job as a woman, also as a member of our community. So we are happy to have you as the chair of this.
Well, I always see this as a we. We are doing what we are doing.
You are doing a very great job. Okay, so thank you so much, and happy Women's Day to all the women that are on this call.
All the women. Okay, so guys, I want to thank you very much all for your patience, especially with all this problem that I have with my system, my computer. So just for the record, this meeting is adjourned at 9:16 p.m. and thank you all very much.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.